Welcome into Mario Kart Tour coverage, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's video, I'll be going over the specific details of how the Spotlight shop works, particularly with those daily Spotlight selections. I'll be talking about the Rubies economy and how to budget your resources and approaching this shop, and also what specific items to get and how to optimize your inventory in Mario Kart Tour. If that sounds good with all of you, please show your support with the channel by leaving a like on this video and subscribing. Thank you so much for the support. Let's start with the framework of the Spotlight shop, which is broken down into two categories. One being that of the campaign, which serves the purpose of the primary spotlight for a given tour. For the current tour that we're in, the Battle Tour, that's composed of Chef Mario and the Chocolate Pretzel in week 1. Chef Luigi and the Parapanini Glider will be the focus of the week 2 campaign. These items are available for sale for the entire player base. That will not change based on your specific account. And then there's the Daily Spotlights component of the Spotlight shop. And these shops are unique to each account based on a table of possible options and probabilities for which we can see any one of these items possibly appearing in one of our shops. The pool of available items for the Battle Tour has recently been data mined, and I'll leave that in a pinned comment down below. I want to focus on the criteria for how this shop is constructed because that can give context and understanding for how future daily spotlight sections of the Spotlight shop will look, the primary criteria being that of a tour feature. And this is something of like a secondary spotlight, if you will, where these items are visibly shown in the promotional material, such as the trailer, but also teaser images, things of that kind. They're specifically themed to the given tour. For the Battle Tour, the theme is based largely around cooking, right? We have the chefs as part of the spotlight, and here we see the complementary spotlight or tour features being that of Chef Rosalina and pastry chef Shy Guy, and the carts and gliders selection is largely gravitating towards food-based items such as the Radish Rider, the Daikon Rocket, the Combo Cruiser, and for the gliders we see the crepes, the donuts, the pretzels, and even the Candlelight Flight cake. These items have the greatest probability of appearing in one shop, and they also don't possess any type of particular restrictions that the other parts of the criteria will have. This isn't too much different from what we've seen in the recent history of Mario Kart Tour, because certain city exclusive drivers such as Vacation Luigi and Rosalina Volendam had made swift returns back into pipes when that was the main mechanism for obtaining new items in short order after their initial debut. In terms of obtaining new items that are just debuting now, such as that Chef Luigi, the only chance that he would have of appearing in the daily spotlights within the next 2 months would be if there was another tour with a specific theme for which he could also appear as one of these tour features. Now let's transition into the next set of criteria, which is rankings usage. This one is quite straightforward with a few minor exceptions in that if a high end appears on the top shelf of a ranked cup course, then it would be eligible for appearing in this set of the probability table for your daily spotlight selection. The exceptions are that the item must have debuted greater than 4 tours ago, which is 2 months. To provide an example for this, the Battle Tour that we're currently in, the most recent items that are available in the daily spotlights selection for rankings usage would be those from the Ocean Tour. So there are no items that are in ranked cup this tour that were available in the Sunday Tour or more recently on this criteria alone. The other exception is that no city or holiday exclusive items are available in this selection. Most notably, we see from this tour Daisy Holiday Cheer, Luigi Lederhosen, and Baby Mario Koala. So as long as one of the items isn't exempt by one of those two stipulations, then it would be eligible in future tours for appearing as part of the rankings usage, and this is largely taking the place of what the tier shop used to present, whereby you could use your coins in order to obtain a top shelf item for ranked mode. We've been saying for quite a long time, folks, that Mario Kart Tour has become a high-end game, and the tier shop top shelf selections started off largely as supers and then transitioned into standard high-ends and even got away from regular high-end selections into more exclusive items that presented lower value overall. This means that you can't obtain top shelf on any of these courses without spending your rubies now, which is a large change in the economy, which I will go over in detail after we finish the details of the Spotlight Shop. The last part of the selection we see are gold items. Now these are extremely rare in their probability. They have a very rare appearance rate, and there's no time restrictions with regards to its initial debut. However, there is selectivity that developers are showing with what is accessible in these pools, because the gold bullet blaster is available as a 100 ruby item purchase, which debuted in the Bowser Tour alongside of gold Chargin' Chuck. Remember that coin box driver in the non-spotlight pipe, right? However, gold Chargin' Chuck has been confirmed to not, I repeat, not be available in this tour's daily spotlights. But it does offer the full repertoire of drivers outside of gold Chargin' Chuck, most recently that of Yoshi Gold Egg. Again, I'll emphasize that the entire list of items available in the Battle Tour will be available in a comment below. So with all of these items trying to grab your attention, right, how do you decide what you're going to purchase then? And how much can you purchase? Perhaps we should start off with that and discuss what the economy looks like in Mario Kart Tour. With the removal of the gacha, the devs have retracted the amount of free rubies that they're giving out in the game. Before these changes, free-to-play players had access to 69 rubies without factoring in ranked rubies. And for Gold Pass, that was 109, so 40 additional rubies you gain for Gold Pass. But now, after the changes that have been brought in with the Battle Tour, that's dropped for free-to-play players all the way down to 47. And the Gold Pass rubies is still plus an additional 40, so that's still a substantial drop for Gold Pass players, being that of 87 total rubies in a tour without factoring in the ranked rubies. The major losses here come from the Total Points Challenge board, which previously offered us 12 additional rubies that they're no longer offering us, and the removal of the 10 free rubies spread across the 2 days, day 5 and day 10, of the daily challenge pipes. In addition to that, I'd like to make a note that while free-to-play does have access to 47 rubies without ranked rewards, it's still unrealistic for most free-to-play players to reach 1 million points in a tour, even given the increase of 15 cups. It is true that while you need fewer points per track, with the addition of 3 new cups, it also requires you to have loadouts on 3 additional cups as well, in addition to the time to be able to grind for those scores. For myself personally, I don't even count those 3 rubies, and I would say it's 44 rubies for free-to-play without factoring in ranked mode. And then we get to ranked mode, right? That was the real bombshell that dropped when we opened up the tour and saw the ranked rewards, in that if you get first place, it's no longer 40 rubies. And it didn't go up, folks, it went down. It's down to 25 now, so that's minus 15 rubies, which factored in with the 44 would be a total of 69 rubies, and if you add the extra 3, that would be 72 rubies overall for a free-to-play account. This isn't even 3/4 of the rubies required to purchase a single cart or a single glider in the shop, and not even half that for a driver. Compare that to the 69 rubies that we were receiving before, that was not gated behind 1 million total points challenge rewards. In addition to that, the 40 rubies, which were reasonable to pick up for a free-to-play account, on average you were going to have about 100 to 109 specifically rubies in a given tour. That would have been enough to slightly more than cover that of the acquisition for a new cart or glider, and greater than 2/3 of that for a new driver, so you could be picking up these items more readily, with the economy being what it looked like in Mario Kart Tour prior to this update. I do have to make mention of the celebration rubies that they provide seasonally throughout the year. So these are situations like we are currently in the autumn celebration, where they'll give away 48 rubies for the entire length of the event. Most players who are daily active will obtain those 48 rubies in the very first tour. That has a particular psychological effect, which I'll go into momentarily. But if we're looking at this objectively in terms of the added rubies over a fixed amount of time, Depending upon if it's a 2-tour celebration or a 3-tour celebration like the current one, that's only 16 rubies per tour that you're picking up additional to that of the guaranteed rubies that are available in the game. Of course, these gifts are not given year-round, so you can't account for them in the fixed total that you receive per tour. If you want to do a larger study and see what they've given away in the last year and divide it out on a per-tourly basis, that would be worthwhile for further pinpointing your budget. However, it would be a component that you can't count entirely on receiving at regular intervals. Receiving the resources in large lump sums supercharges our accounts at fixed points in time, and what that does is it provides players with equity for being able to obtain some of these items through the shop. And essentially, it's a method for the developers to get players hooked into the feeling of obtaining a new item, winning with a new item, and then subsequently not being able to maintain that pattern of growth unless the player starts spending money in at escalating amounts in order to maintain that feeling of gratification. If you're spending on this game, please review to make sure that you are doing so responsibly and with a full grasp of what the developers are trying to do and the direction that they are taking things. One of the most valuable comments I've ever received came from Envy, who's a veteran player, but as part of an experiment, he started a brand new free-to-play account for the Battle Tour and reported something truly fascinating and really adds a load of context to how the economy works and also the mental tricks that the developers employ, and that's that a brand new account now obtains 150 rubies right up front. It used to be 45, and the purpose of that was to get players hooked into the gacha, which would be give the player 45 rubies and they'll do a 10 fire, right? Maybe they'll get something good. Maybe the rates are different for new accounts. That was something that players used to speculate on, right? Well, now that's more than tripled. They're giving away 150 rubies. Essentially, the amount that they're giving away is totally irrelevant for them. They want to get you hooked as a customer. And the best way to do that is to give you access to the most powerful, most glorifying thing that they can, which in the current system is now a brand new high-end driver. So it's marked up to be 150 rubies. So once you've obtained that driver, well, you're not going to be getting 150 rubies every single tour. You're going to have to dip into the wallet in order to maintain that feeling of progression that they get you started with initially. On the channel here, the focus is entirely on you, the player, and what's in your best interest and well-being for enjoying this game and succeeding in it. With that, let's talk about what items should you be obtaining for your account and also how to optimize your course coverage in Mario Kart Tour. The number one question I've been asked to this point is, what items should I be buying in the shop? Well, that's a unique answer for each and every person out there. There's certainly going to be some stronger selections of the bunch, but what's correct for one person isn't necessarily going to be correct for a different person. So it takes a very keen understanding of knowing your current place in the game and the larger direction you want to be taking your account. And this is where I introduce you to the Coverage Optimizer tool developed by a turtle dude. By joining our Discord server, you can receive notification on updates and receive feedback for the outputs you're receiving and any kind of troubleshooting that you may experience the need for along the way. There's also the Help and FAQ up at the top here, which has some very frequently asked questions which would be very valuable to go through and read prior to utilizing this tool. So this is the tool that I've been using to form the optimal list that I share through the Discord server, as well as informing my own knowledge and information of which I can provide on the context of all the items that are available in Mario Kart Tour. You can run the searches based on a number of criteria. So at the top we have drivers, karts, and gliders as selectable parts of the inventory. You can flesh out the size of the combination that you want to receive an output for, which is to say, how many items are you going to be looking to invest into in order to possess a certain number of course coverage right here. So we can see that the limit for the web tool is 7. There is a desktop version of this tool that is available that does not possess the same limitation and offers additional features that provide limitless amounts of customization and fine-tuning for pulling out all of these tiny little valuable nuggets of information out there. A combination size of 7 provides a wealth of information, particularly when you consider that that does not take into account the enforced selections, which we can take a look at down here below. By enforcing certain drivers in the selection, it will only add on the recommendation size that you list above. So for example here, if we'll just do one right now, we'll pull up what's the optimal combinations for the Kong family of drivers, right? My very favorite ones in the game. So here, let's pull up Donkey Kong Jr., we have Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and where is Funky Kong? There he is. Alright, so we pull up those as our enforced drivers, and we're going to set the level all the way up to 8. Now that we've done that, let's scroll down to the bottom and run the report. Takes a few seconds. The larger the combination size, the longer it takes. And here we go. These are the optimal selections at level 8. And they're recommending Cat Luigi, Daisy Swimwear, Luigi Lederhosen, Mario Satellaview, Penguin Mario, Shy Guy Ninja, and Yoshi Kangaroo. If we scroll down, we can see that there are additional combinations for your course coverage. So in that first one, we had Luigi Lederhosen. Let's say if I don't have Luigi Lederhosen, well then we see that Nabbit is on this list. So it's interchangeable parts that provide an equal amount of course coverage overall. And as we can see here, there are actually very many options that can be had. We see the Dr. Peach is in there, and we see Rosalina Volendam is also in there as well. And by clicking on coverage details, it will indicate which courses are being covered by specifically which driver, and this is going to be in order. As we can see, Cat Luigi is listed as number 1, so all of the tracks that list 1 indicate those are covered by Cat Luigi, and when it is covered by multiple drivers, we can see that 1, 8, and 10 are covered by Cat Luigi, Luigi Lederhosen, and Penguin Mario. So there's no overlap with the Kongs there, but overlap among the optimal selections overall. The limitation of what I've just done here is that I set the entire pool of drivers to be that for level 8. If you're looking to complement a specific strategy, you likely don't want to take the complementary parts all the way up to level 8. You would only want to keep those at level 6 and only enforce your favorite selections or the most powerful selections if you are a meta player and you're playing for Coinbox, Giant Banana, and Boomerang, just those to level 8 and the corresponding elements to level 6. What you would need to do then is to go back and upload an inventory file. This information is available in the Help and FAQ section if you are struggling with that. I'll just show you what a CSV file looks like. This is what an inventory file would be. You can export your inventory file from the BGR spreadsheet as well as the MKT toolbox in order to run through the coverage optimizer tool. So if we go back to the app here, we can click on inventory options and choose a file. And we're going to choose file here, take one from the inventory. And now this isn't my personal inventory, this is a sample inventory. So what I will do in this situation is I will set the simulated level to level 6. We'll add a combination size of 3 for drivers, and instead of enforcing the Kongs in this situation, let's enforce a recent powerhouse that many folks are likely to have pulled for or obtained even through the Spotlight Shop. It's available here is Petey Piranha. So let's find Petey. There he is. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and run this to see what comes up. So we can see that the recommended selection for Petey Piranha would be DK Jr., Peach Explorer, and Penguin Mario, but there's also an alternative pathway here with Meowser, Daisy Swimwear, and Tanuki Rosalina. So these, if you go through the details, you will find that they cover different but an equal number of courses overall, and it provides multiple pathways then for you to decide how you want to invest. Perhaps these are some of these that you already own, which you can further fine-tune in the options right here. Max unowned items. I left this spot blank, but let's put a 0 in there. Let's say I have to own all of the items that are available in my inventory at the given moment. and see if this changes the outputs whatsoever, right? So here, we're running the file and you can see that we have fewer courses covered, right? Only 90 of the 227. And this one has a vastly different recommendation: Luigi Lederhosen, Mario Golf, and Peach Explorer. But this doesn't provide us with any information on what we can invest into in the future, since we already own these items, right? This is only valuable for indicating what you should place your tickets on that already exists in your inventory. So let's go back. If we change the max on owned to 1 and then click run again, we can see that we pick up an additional track here, and now the recommendation changes to Meowser, Peach Explorer, and Penguin Mario are our optimal combination with just one brand new driver. And you can do that to then pinpoint and target the specific items that you could add to your inventory that will provide the greatest overall benefit for your coverage in this game. Another new feature that has been brought in just recently is that of customization for the timeline of when the courses were added, since the newer courses have a larger exposure in Mario Kart Tour than the original courses, right? So if we go back here, we can adjust this to choose only courses starting from, let's pick out New Year's 2022 as just the courses that have entered the game in this year alone, and see what that does hypothetically for our coverage optimization. Now you can see that the total number of courses changed from 227 to that of 50. So we're looking at a much smaller sample of courses, and the recommendations are vastly different from that of total Mario Kart Tour course coverage overall. They're recommending Charge and Chuck, Daisy Sailor, and Luigi Vacation, which were ones that were featured multiple times throughout 2022. We also see in the alternative combination we have Mario Golf as well. So if you are a player that gears your inventory needs to that of the more recent courses and don't really care about what's on DK Pass or Cheap Cheap Lagoon, then there are customization options for you there. Okay, I hope that this detailed look at how to maximize your overall course coverage will prove valuable to you as you work and mold your own inventory to be the most powerful that it can be, and to approach these Spotlight Shop items with the complete picture of what they can do for your account, so that way you can really optimize and make the best use of your resources possible. They are more scarce than ever, folks, and it is oh so important to make sure that you're using them in a way that brings you happiness, fulfillment, and success in Mario Kart Tour. This was a really nice deep dive. As always, if you have any questions about any of the content presented here, in particular the Coverage Optimizer tool, please leave them in the comments below. Become a member of our Discord server and get the updates on this web tool, and to pick up additional context and information about how to approach optimizing your coverage. With that all said, I wish you the best in your approach to the Spotlight Shop and building out your inventory in Mario Kart Tour. Be well, everyone, and I really hope that you enjoyed. Take care.